honey, is this a story for the girls?
Sweet dreams stuck in the 90s babies, it's a matter of time.
Hi you guys, it's me Aliyah, and welcome back to my channel. Now you're probably reading the title and thinking, Aliyah, this has to be cap. All facts, no cap. I'm going to be telling you the story of the time that I got food poisoning in Miami, Florida, and it saved me from getting the coronavirus. I flew into the Fort Lauderdale airport March 8th, 2020, and I left March 13th, 2020. So that was the entire time I was in Florida. During this time, the coronavirus was getting progressively worse. But when I got to Florida, it wasn't really an issue, and me and my cousin Brielle, we had a bunch of things we wanted to do. We wanted to go to this designer district in Miami. We wanted to go to the unicorn factory. We wanted to go to the beach, everything like that. We had everything figured out. I flew into Florida on the 8th. I got there at like 3 o'clock. She came and picked me up. All was good and dandy. Went to my Nana's house to say hello to everybody because I was there first day there, you know, first day out, you know what I'm saying. While I was in Florida, we had to do some grocery shopping because if you may or may not know this, I have low blood sugar, so this means I have to eat more frequently because when I don't, I get really weird symptoms such as headache, nausea, I get dizzy. So that's something very important to keep in mind for later in this video. So it was all chill and fine that Monday. Everybody was fine. I was feeling great. We didn't really get to do much because y'all got off mad late, you know. Next day, Tuesday, had more time in the evening because Brielle got to get off work early. So I was like, hey, I want seafood boil because here in Charlotte we have some really good seafood boil places, but they're far from my house and they're very expensive. And she knew of this very inexpensive place called Submarine Crab. I don't know where it's at, but she says it's really good. You know, we were going and then we got kind of held up at her house because there was a mix-up of who was coming with us, and that pushed us back like 2 hours. So instead of getting there at 4 o'clock like the designated time, we ended up waiting for rush hour to be done. So we ended up getting to the place at like 8:30, and by that time the place closed at 10 and the wait time was an hour. So I was like, you know what, we can just go to a different place. And recently this place called Juicy Crab opened up the street, so I was like, hey, seafood boil is seafood boil, let's check it out, let's see if it's good. So we went to this place called Juicy Crab. It was really good and really inexpensive for what I got snow crab legs, shrimp, egg, corn, and sausage all in my bag with the sauce where they mix it all together with a mild level, like how hot it is and everything, because that's how I like mine. And Brielle got the same thing. We were eating our food. It was really freaking good. Really good service, really good management, and the wait time, honey, we were able to walk up and get a table with no waiting, and the food came out in less than 20 minutes. So after we stuffed our faces for an hour, we left the place at like 10 o'clock and we went home and we went to sleep because that's just what we did, because it was 10 o'clock. I was tired. If you know anything about me, I don't like staying up late because it just doesn't make me feel the best the next day. Wednesday morning comes around and I noticed that I have a couple of my low blood sugar symptoms, such as I had a headache, I felt very sick, so I was like, let me get something to snack on real quick. So from the store we got fruits such as grapes, strawberries, and like those Nature Valley peanut butter bars that you eat because they're really good in protein and really good in sugar along with the fruit. So I had some of those and I seemed to be fine, and I noticed that I drifted back off into a sleep because it was pretty early when I woke up. It was like 8-9 o'clock and I was like, I'm still kind of tired from last night because the food coming, you know, I was really full. I woke up again around an hour later, so it's like 10-11 o'clock now. I noticed that I feel very, almost did he say, weird in my own body. I'm not really sure how to describe how I felt besides just out of place. So I was like, oh, I really didn't eat a good breakfast, so my blood sugar is probably mega low. I go to get up and go to the kitchen. I noticed that as soon as I stand up, the biggest wave of nausea I have felt since like my sophomore year of high school, even bigger than that, hit me, and I was like stumbling and super dizzy. So I like stumble ran to the kitchen, to the fridge, so I could get something in my system. Should I have eaten more? Yes, but could my stomach handle that at the time because I felt so sick? No, so that's what I ate. I had a lot of freaking grapes and another Nature Valley bar along with some juice. And when I sat back down on the couch, which is where I slept, I noticed that I was fine, but I was getting a weird feeling. So I woke up about 30 minutes later and I felt like absolute trash. I went to go get some more juice and water because for some reason I got very hot to the point where I started sweating and I felt like I was gonna pass out. I don't really know how to explain it besides that. It was so bad to the point where I asked my cousin Brielle if I could use her swivel fan that was in her room, and while she got out her room I stood by the AC vent and just kind of put my hand up there so I can feel the cool air on my body. I was drinking something because I was really hot and I was sweating, like I was literally sweating. Sweat was dripping down my back. It was really bad. And then all of a sudden got the fan set up. I was on the couch and I was sitting there and I was cooling off, and all of a sudden I got really cold and I was like, okay, this is weird. Girl asked me if I ate anything, and there's a Starbucks right up the street from where she lives, so she went up there and got me what I like to get, which is a ham and cheese croissant warmed up, and then she got me a big thing of ice water. While she was gone, I took a little nap. She wasn't gone for long, maybe about at most 20 minutes, and she came back and I was sipping on my ice water and I was eating some and I was starting to feel a little better. Now it was about 12 o'clock and Brielle and I were responsible for getting my little cousin Liam from school because he was in school that day, and she said, do you want to come with me to get Liam? I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it. I didn't want to cause any havoc like in her car, so she took me to my Nana's house so I could stay there while she went and got Liam, because it's kind of a very long process because the car line and the way to do everything, it's just a mess. So I was at my Nana's house and I told my Nana, hey, I've been feeling really weird all day, but right now I feel like fine. At first I thought I was allergic to something because I never felt that way in my Nana's house. Like when we got there, all those symptoms of like the chills, the heat flashes, the wanting to pass out, the dizziness, the headaches, the nausea, just gone by the time I left her house. So I thought I was sick of something there because I never felt those symptoms at my Nana's house the previous days that we were there. And by now Wednesday, coronavirus is getting out of control. It was already in the area, so it's already creeping upon all of us. So my Nana's constantly watching the news. She was watching the news in the kitchen. This allowed my little cousin Ryan to be able to roam the house free. Now Ryan is not 2 yet, so she was in the living room and I was just kind of sitting on the couch laying down to make sure like I was okay. I was kind of nibbling at my ham and cheese croissant that I had that I never finished because I didn't want to push myself to the point where I'd be sick. I took a bigger bite and I noticed that I couldn't bring myself to swallow the piece of food that I had in my mouth, and like my throat just wouldn't like open to swallow. Like, you know, you swallow something, your throat opens and like you can swallow it. My throat was not having that, so I like spit it out. I only ever felt this 2 or 3 times before this at home, but I never had these symptoms along with this. All of a sudden my stomach was hurting, and I didn't mention this earlier, but at Brielle's house, after I got my Starbucks and stuff, when she first brought it to me, my stomach was kind of queasy and I was like, do you have any gum? And she was like, yeah. So she gave me some and I chewed on that for a little bit along with drinking some ice water and eating some grapes, you know, just kind of alleviating my nausea. So I had a couple extra pieces of gum from when she gave me some earlier. I popped in my mouth and then all of a sudden my stomach started hurting really freaking bad, like to the point where I was like, this isn't normal. I get up very quickly because I feel like I'm going to throw up. Mind you, once again, my little cousin Ryan was in the living room and she was trying to get on the couch, and she can't be on the couch without supervision because she'll fall off. And she was trying to get on the couch, and it's an L-shaped couch, so I was kind of laying in an L shape along with the L crease. She was trying to get up through there and I had to get up mad quick because my stomach started hurting. So I kind of like picked her up and not tossed her, but kind of tossed her like a rag doll. She landed on her feet, so she was fine. Should I have done that? Probably not, but is she okay? Yes, she's fine. Halfway to the bathroom, because I'm passing the laundry room, which is almost the bathroom, I burp. And I never burp the way I did because I don't really like burping because it gives me flashbacks of throwing up in the past, which is why I just don't like burping. I pass gassing. Other ways that we don't have to talk about because that's not made for YouTube. And then I hold my hand over my mouth just in case anything comes up and I'm like, yep, I'm about to throw up. So I run to the bathroom and I sit there for a second, and then all of a sudden it all just came out. Everything I ate that day just came out. And honestly, I was hot when I was throwing up. It was nasty. Thankfully, I taught myself how to throw up without tasting it. If you open your mouth wide enough and pull your tongue back, you don't taste anything, but I can still feel like the texture. I can still feel it to this day. Remember my little cousin that was graciously in the way as I was trying to yak in the bathroom? Yeah, she decided to take a visit to me while I was hunched over the toilet throwing up and asked me, are you eating? Because whenever she sees somebody with their mouth moving like in a chewing motion, it could have seemed like I was eating something. So the toilet thing and me doing that doesn't really click in her mind. So she was like, are you eating? Are you eating? Are you eating? And in between like waves of vomit, I was like, go get Nana, vomit. Q, go get Nana, vomit. And she was like, Nana. And then I never heard from her. Another 5 minutes passed, so I've been in the bathroom for like 10-15 minutes, and I decided to sit on the floor by the toilet just in case. And I texted my boyfriend. So it was about 2:30 when I was finished, and I just said I threw up, and he asked me if I was okay, and I said no. And then I called him. I kind of stayed on the phone with him as I kind of calmed down on the bathroom floor. I called my Nana from the bathroom floor just just kind of tell her like, hey, I just threw up. I don't think it was an allergy. So she brought me a thing of ginger ale. She asked me if I ate anything out recently, and I was like, yeah, we had seafood boil last night, you know, the crab legs, the shrimp. And she was like, that's probably what it is that really upset your stomach, because she asked me for the rest of my symptoms, and she was like, yep, that's food poisoning. Of course, me being in Florida, not with my immediate family, I texted my mom, and she called me shortly after and asked me, and she said, yep, it's food poisoning as well. Thankfully, that was the only time I threw up this entire time. I told Brielle I threw up also, and she was like, okay. We had plans to go to Unicorn Factory that afternoon, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to survive that 45-minute drive to Miami. So she was like, okay, I understand, because you literally just threw up in the bathroom. Like, I get it. I stay at Nana's house that Wednesday night because I just didn't feel like I can make it to her house without throwing up again. Thursday comes around, and me and Brielle were planning to go to the beach, and since I got sick, I didn't really feel comfortable going to the beach, because I don't know what beach we're going to specifically. I'm just assuming it was a beach in Miami, because we didn't really go into specifics of what beach we would actually be going to. I avoided going to the beach because I threw up less than 24 hours before. So instead of going to the beach, I just kind of stayed at Nana's all day. So Thursday, I decided to take it easy, and by this point, the coronavirus cases were getting insane. Like, I have no idea what was happening. They didn't really have advisements for people just yet. The CDC didn't really say anything about like social distancing or like staying home yet, but they did say avoid travel. And mind you, it's about March 12th by this point, and I leave the 13th. I'm panicking because they said avoid it at all costs. I stayed the night at Nana's house again Thursday night, and we were gonna go shopping Friday before I had to take off to my flight, which was at 4 o'clock, which eventually got pushed back to 6 for whatever reason. In shopping districts and different stores, you have a lot of different people touching a lot of things, which is a big way to exchange germs, especially since Miss Corona supposedly lives on surfaces for like 9 days. Like, can you just imagine the filth, the virus, the bacteria that was gathering up on these things that we could be buying. I flew home, I got in Charlotte at like 7:30, and then all hell broke loose for coronavirus on the East Coast, and now we're here. So for all the people who were telling me, how are you gonna travel during a time like this, on my last video, well, like I said in the video, I flew out March 8th and I filmed that video March 7th, so pre-filming is a thing. Now that you have the whole story of how I got sick and how my food poisoning from seafood boils affected my entire trip, let me tell you how I avoided Miss Corona. Because if you did or did not know, Miami is one of the most popular spring break places in America, because it's the beach, there's the clubs, there's the tattoo parlors, there's the places that let you drink underage, there's alcohol plugs, there's just everything down there. It's a wild ride. If you go to Miami for spring break, props to you. And it actually turns out a lot of people that went to spring break in Miami this year actually tested positive for Miss Coronavirus. So if I never got food poisoning, I would have been out around all those people, touching all those things, getting Miss Rona in my system, and contracting coronavirus and spreading it to my lovely family that I know and love that stays in Florida, which would not have been good for any of us, because it's not good for anybody to have. I made this video because I don't know, I just find it really crazy that the universe decided to give me food poisoning after I had one of my favorite foods of all time, and I feel very shameful because even after I threw up, I was like, dang, I could really go for some crab or some shrimp right now, you know? Was the story this exciting? No. Y'all wanted me to change up the content, so I'm trying something new, and I can't tell half the stories on my channel yet because my life ain't that wild, I promise you. No matter what you're doing, please practice social distancing. It makes a very big difference. Even if you won't suffer much from the coronavirus, you can hurt someone else by having it and not showing symptoms and passing on to somebody else. Don't be selfish. Don't be inconsiderate. If you think that it could just affect older people, please don't be ignorant, and just please stay in the house and mind your business and keep your social distance if you're going to be leaving the house. Please think of others around you. Once again, you might not be showing it, or you may not have any problems with it at all, but remember, there's people around you, and you're not the only person in the world. The world doesn't revolve around you. That took a sharp turn. I'm sorry if I clickbaited this video a little smidget. I needed you guys to tap in and tell me what you think. Like, do you really think that the universe told me, hey, food poisoning, because I don't want you to get Miss Rona in the early stages? So I hope you're staying safe. Wash your hands if you're doing anything, and make sure you keep a social distance of at least 6 feet if you decide to go out. If you're working, thank you for being on the front lines. We care about you. You deserve a raise. We hear you. If you have the money, donate to causes that are looking for cures and giving resources for the coronavirus, because I know I am. But guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I can't wait to see you on the next next one. I'm sorry I haven't been uploading this quarantine. I have things to do. Make sure you follow my social medias. That includes my Instagrams, Twitter, and TikTok, so you can see my daily content creations and me on other platforms of social media. But guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Stay cool. Bye guys.